Good morning. Thank you so much for being here. What a beautiful room, so many beautiful people. I'm so honored to be your MC today. My name is Meredith Land, and I'm one of the anchors at NBC5 here in Dallas. In addition to celebrating the 2019 Texas Trailblazer Award recipients, we today are also dedicating today's luncheon to female empowerment. You've heard that a lot recently. We're also talking about the positive results that can be achieved when committed leaders actively promote that empowerment. And of course, this event primarily functions to raise critical funds for the Family Place, programs that exist to empower all survivors of family violence. Before we get started, I would like to introduce Mara Morehouse. Mara is the Associate Pastor of Communications and Pastoral Care at Oak Lawn United Methodist Church to give our invocation.
Good morning. Would you bow your heads in prayer with me? God, we thank you this morning for the sun we see and the air we breathe, the work that has been and will be done in and through us by your wisdom and your mercy. We thank you for creating us, Adam, Ish, and Isha, for it is through us that you bring about change in this world. You call us to be stewards of our planet, as well as caretakers of one another. So renew and sustain us in this work, that we may continue to bind up the brokenhearted and set free the captive. I give thanks for the Family Place and those therein who have gone on mission to rescue and restore, and in doing so have brought healing, hope, and new life to our city and communities. So empower us today to be a productive people, a trailblazing people, and with new energy, let us celebrate today those who have tirelessly given of themselves for the cause of great love. In the name each of us may know you by, we pray. Amen.
Ladies, I'd like to introduce today's luncheon chairs and my good friends. Best friend set me down in the salon chair. Shampoo press get you out of my hair. Fresh photos with the bomb lighting.
Thank you, Mara, for starting our day off with such gratitude. I, Samantha Wortley, along with my co-chairs, Marjan Henderson and Marissa Howard, would love to welcome and thank all of y'all for being here today. The mission of the Family Place would truly be unattainable without both your presence and generosity, and for that, we are so grateful. We also want to recognize our amazing family that are here today for all of your support along the way, and of course, our youngest, yet probably smallest fans that are a little bit too little to be here, but our young children that inspire us every day to make our community a better place. We also want to thank the ladies behind what should be a purple door at the Family Place. Y'all have done so much to help us make this event so successful, and we are truly so grateful. I also want to take a second personally to recognize both of these ladies. They exude what an empowered woman is to me. They are strong, they are smart, they are two of the most hardworking people I know, beautiful inside and out, and I am so honored to be standing here today chairing this event with them, and even more honored to have them as two of my dear friends. Lastly, we are so excited to extend a Texas-sized welcome later in our program to Laura Linney. Y'all all probably know her from her stage and film acting, and we are just so excited to have her here and share a little bit with us today.
Today's event is the result of the hard work of so many people. To our sponsors, volunteers, and staff, we offer our sincere thanks for their commitment to stopping the cycle of family violence. We are grateful to the following companies, foundations, and individuals for their incredible generosity and support: Dominion Harbor, Holman Inc., D. Collins Torbert, Baylor Scott and White Health, Bullion, Nancy C. Rogers, Carolyn and David B. Miller, Debbie Rader, Durham Family Foundation, Catherine Glaze Lyle, Lida Hill Philanthropies, Mary Bowman Campbell, Specialized Security Services, Inc., The Container Store, IAC, Willis Tower Watson Foundation, Village Giving Circle, and the Mary Kay Foundation.
As a famous Dallasite Melinda Gates once said, when we invest in women and girls, we are investing in the people who invest in everyone else. And just yesterday gave $1 billion to promote gender equality. Today, we celebrate the leadership and vision of women who have reached the highest peaks in business and have an incredible ability to invest in women. Each of the Trailblazer Award recipients serve as a beacon of empowerment and is an inspiration to their peers and the next generation of female leaders.
Today's theme of women empowerment is uniquely appropriate to what the Family Place stands for. 85% of domestic violence victims are female, but comforting and lifting up survivors alone will not solve the problem here in North Texas. That is why what the Family Place offers comprehensive programs of prevention, intervention, and restoration that address the cycle of violence and empower virtually every one of us citizens to effect change that can prevent violence at its roots. The Family Place empowers survivors through counseling and the promise of the resources necessary to take that brave step toward freeing themselves from a life of brutality. Empowerment is the result of legal support and the ability to obtain medical care, batterers counseling, inspires accountability, and even empowers oppressors to heal their personal relationships.
Not every violent act leaves a bruise. Financial abuse occurs in 99% of domestic violence cases. Though it is less understood than physical abuse, it is one of the most effective methods of trapping a survivor in an unhealthy relationship, and it can reduce the chances of survivors staying safe after leaving. Denying access to financial information, wrecking the family's credit, forbidding work, and withholding money by giving an allowance are all routine tools of an abuser. The Family Place empowers survivors to break free from the devastating and visible effects of these type of abuse through financial education and job training.
These comprehensive programs are crucial, and while they are freely available to survivors and their families, the costs to operate them are significant. The funds raised here today are critical to addressing the complete cycle of violence, and the opportunity is yours to help. The Family Place tells victims, yes, you deserve safety. Yes, your children deserve safety. And yes, we are there to help. A donation today could mean a lifetime of empowerment and safety for a survivor. When you consider giving, remember that you're not just donating your hard-earned money, you're investing in the training and education that can make the difference between safety and financial independence, and a return to an abuser because of a lack of options. Marissa, Samantha, and myself hope that we can count on 100% support today in this room. Please join us now as we empower the women at the Family Place's care. Now, we will turn it back to our dear friend and host, Meredith Land.
All right, it is time to give. Thank you so much. It is so easy to give. There are traditional ways to give, but of course we can text message, right? Which is what we all are doing anyway. So today we're gonna make it really easy for you. Go ahead and get out your phones, text. We have it on the screen here, 91999 with the word Trailblazer, then a space, and the amount you want to give. You're welcome to put your name in there too, so we know that you donated and we can thank you. And then you'll get a link. You've probably seen this. You get a link in the text, and click that link and make sure that you pay up. We really appreciate it today. I want to welcome to the stage Paige Flink. She has a really important, exciting announcement.
So last night at the patron party, we celebrated all the wonderful donors we have, but we had a special opportunity that's now been offered to you guys. We have a match today of $25,000 thanks to our friend and Family Place board member Travis Holman and his wife Stephanie. They will match up to $25,000, so that means your gift is amplified. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Travis.
Paige will be back in a little bit, but first, we also want you to know there are envelopes and pens on your tables if you want to give traditionally. We appreciate that. And don't forget, you can buy the centerpieces on your tables. They're so pretty today, just $50. All that money goes to the Family Place. We also have a raffle today that benefits the Family Place, and there are some really, really good prizes. If you have seen them out in the front, Choose for every season. Those are 4 pairs of Jimmy shoes. Who doesn't like those, right? A one-night experience at the Rosewood Mansion on Turtle Creek. A North Park Center VIP experience, front of the line access to Santa, and a VIP valet pass. You want this one. Trust me. Beautiful art out there from Chrissy Mansuranis, and a pair of Megan Adams pillows, and a Primp and Pamper package with great items from the Pilates Bar and Skin Med Studio. So we have a lot of good stuff out there. Please buy a raffle ticket. Volunteers will be around shortly to help you purchase your tickets. If you need any help, raise your hand. Prize details can be seen on the screen. Tickets are for $25. You get 1 ticket for $25, and you get 5 tickets for $500. It's a pretty good deal. Soon we will hear remarks from Paige Flink, the CEO of the Family Place. Please enjoy your lunch, and of course, Laura Linney will be here soon too. Thank you.
Okay, everybody, we're going to get that program started again. I just noticed that we're at $11,685. That means we have, someone help me with the math, but over $13,000 to go to raise the other $25,000. So please don't forget to text to give. It's really easy. It may sound complicated, but I'm sure they'll put the instructions up again. But hello, I'm Paige Flink. I'm the CEO of the Family Place, and I'm so glad to have this amazing crowd here today at the Texas Trailblazer Award Luncheon. First, I want to take a moment and recognize the board members of the Family Place. They are your community stewards, and they are such wonderful people. So I'd like to ask them all to stand so we can appropriately recognize them. Please stand if you're a Family Place board member. They're all spread out because they all bought tables. They did what they were supposed to. That was so nice. So, and then I also want to thank the public officials. You know, the Family Place can't exist without them because they help support the mission of our Family Place to stop family violence. So first of all, I'd like to recognize our congressman, our new congressman, Representative Colin Allred, who's with us today. County Judge Clay Jenkins is here. He brought his mom. Isn't that great to bring your mom to a luncheon? And then Dallas City Council member Jennifer Staubach Gates is here. She's the chair of the Domestic Violence Task Force, so we really appreciate her work. And then we have multiple other ones. We have from Dallas City Council, Tanel Atkins, Adam Basildua, Paula Blackman, David Blewett, Carol Mendelson, Omar Narvaez, I miss it every time. Sorry, Omar. He does so much to help us. I apologize. And Jamie Resendez. You guys, please stand. Thank you so much for your help in the city. And then representing County Commissioner J.J. Koch is Mickey McGuire, and representing Commissioner Alba Garcia is Naomi Gonzalez. Thank you all so much for being here. So we are here today because everyone in this room recognizes the need to help survivors of family violence stand proudly on their own 2 feet, earn living wages, and prepare for new lives. We are also here today in recognition that there is a direct correlation between how women are valued in the workplace and the societal acceptance of gender-based violence that women may experience. It really all boils down to one thing: empowerment. Specifically women's empowerment, because mothers, wives, and daughters are the heartbeats of every family, and the lack of power is what makes gender-based violence thrive. Our celebration of women's empowerment today is not a declaration of victory over gender inequality or the global oppression of women, as we saw in the opening video. We still have so much work to do. Though we have far to go, we have had some little wins, and we need to celebrate those also. Little victories can have ripple effects, especially when we begin to hear our own voices, the voices we have been afraid to use, let alone raise. Consider young Greta Thunberg, the 16-year-old climate activist, standing at the UN podium to look the world's leaders in the eyes and say, "How dare you?" What would the world look like if every girl on earth, and we have some wonderful young women with us today, what if every girl on earth felt empowered to pursue her convictions and her passions as Greta did? And then only slightly more recently, Michelle Williams gave a moving Emmy acceptance speech that called attention to the benefits of supporting the needs of women in the workplace and the real presence of gender pay gap in Hollywood, bringing high visibility to the current national conversation about inequality in the workplace. According to the National Women's Law Center, women earn 80 cents on every dollar earned by a man. An unfortunate statistic which is made even worse when you look at African American women who earn 63 cents on the dollar and Hispanic women who earn 54 cents on the dollar. These discrepancies leave women and the family they support struggling to survive. This problem amplifies the needs of clients who come to seek assistance at the family place. How can we take this conversation about the differences in pay seriously without looking at domestic violence survivors in our community who may not have the skills, education, or freedom to even get a job? This is why we are here today, this gap. The gap that the family place addresses daily and that you can affect today. It is a gap between a survivor being able to pay her own rent and her being forced to return to an unsafe household in order to feed her children. Consider our client Liz. Upon graduating from college, Liz got the job of her dreams working with at-risk youth. She began a relationship with her coworker, but as the relationship grew most serious, he began to change. He became increasingly physically and psychologically abusive. She was in constant fear because he would remind her of his military experience and how he was trained to kill. His threats increasingly escalated, and the night he strangled her was the night she said enough. She came to the family place, sought legal assistance, and we were able to help her get a protective order. But she had to quit her job due to stress. Her self-esteem was destroyed, and she thought she would never get to work in her chosen field. Then Liz began working with the employment specialist in our Dignity at Work program. They spent time working on confidence building, self-care, self-encouragement, and self-advocacy. She now has a job in an after-school program doing what she loves best, working with kids. In a recent email she sent to us, she said, "You gave me courage, you helped me present myself, and now I am confident to keep knocking on doors. Thank you." Beyond helping clients to secure and succeed in employment, there is more we can do to help women in North Texas. This year, the Family Place is debuting a workplace certification program to enhance the safety and respect of women in the workplace. It is called Work Strong. It is designed to help companies address gender-based violence that happens in the workplace, as well with sexual harassment, and is brought into the workplace by employees who suffer from gender-based violence in their home. We are launching this program to help companies like those in this room evaluate your personnel policies, train your employees to improve your corporate culture, and provide cost savings to your bottom line that is directly affected by gender-based violence. If you all are interested in meeting with the Family Place team, we would love to talk to you. I'll be sending an email out to the companies in this room to ask you to join us with this program. As you know, we are here today to honor the CEOs of Dallas's publicly traded companies. Our country needs more representation in corporations, higher ed, and in government. As of June, there were just 33 female CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. That's 6.5%. Considering that women are more willing to negotiate, communicate, and address workplace issues that affect families, you have to wonder why we don't have more. 2019 also sees a Congress with more female senators and representatives than ever before. This is something to celebrate because laws matter, and we need more female voices to be heard where they matter most. Unfortunately, this is the third year I'm standing before you saying that we need to reauthorize the Violence Against Women Act. It has passed the House of Representatives, thank you, Representative Allred, but it still has not passed our Senate. This act funds the investigation and prosecution of violent crimes against women, imposes automatic penalties on abusers, and allows civil action in cases that prosecutors decline to pursue. It is an effective piece of legislation that has saved lives. Please call Senator Cruz and Senator Cornyn and encourage them to reauthorize the Violence Against Women Act. Sometimes, however, with tenacity, laws get passed that make sense for the health and safety of women, which is why I'm pleased to introduce Lavinia Masters. Earlier this year, Texas State Representative Victoria Niave of Dallas and State Senator Jane Nelson from Flower Mound sponsored the Lavinia Masters Act. At the age of 13, Lavinia was raped in her home at knife point. With no suspect named, her rape kit sat untested for more than 20 years. Her attacker would go on to commit more sexual assaults. This bill tackles the backlog of untested rape kits and creates a time requirement for testing new kits within 90 days of receiving them, as well as centralizing the number, location, and status of all received kits. Lavinia's unbelievable story convinced lawmakers and will lead to fewer unidentified attackers. Not a moment too soon either, as more than 18,000 rapes were reported in Texas in 2017 alone. Please watch more of Lavinia's story.
When I was 13 years old, we had moved from Houston back to Dallas, and we were living with other relatives in the West Dallas area. As I was sleeping downstairs, someone entered a window downstairs and brutally raped me at knife point. He had a knife to my throat and basically told me if I said anything, he was going to kill me and kill my family. I ran upstairs screaming to my mom. We called the police anyway. They took me out to Park Memorial Hospital, and from there, my kit, I found out, sat on the shelf for over 20 years. I found out that my kit was sitting on the shelf because the Dallas Police Department has started a cold case program. And I asked a question. I said, okay, so if I was raped July 31st, what does it mean it was suspended August 2nd? And he was like, well, Lavinia, that means that we just didn't really do anything else with it. You just took my evidence, you violated me again, and then you just said, here you go. We're gonna do nothing else about it. So I began writing letters to the governor and to my local representatives, and I'm like, okay, do you know that there are thousands of kits sitting on shelves in the state of Texas? It gives them an opportunity to track the whole status of the case. They can go online. Victim services would track them as well. And so they just have access to more, because I know the life I lived in the darkness I dwelled in for so long, and not knowing and not having any kind of closure or healing from my rape. So I was determined that this would not happen again. So Lavinia Masters is a blessing in disguise. I found my empowerment. First of all, it was my faith. I knew I had to heal. And then as I began to understand what happened with my case, that really pushed me over the edge. You need to show who you are, how you are empowered, how you are encouraged, because I feel that other victims need to see they have power as well. And for someone to see your work, to me, it's like God smiling on me saying, I see everything you've done over the years. It says that you're making a difference, no matter how small you are. And that means the world to me, because we can change. We can make a change with hearts like that.
In honor of sharing her story and the moving testimony that convinced our state legislature to make a change, I am proud to present Lavinia Masters with the Real Life Hero Award. Please join us on the stage. And now it is time to celebrate our guests of honor and the Texas Trailblazer Award recipients for this year. The Texas Trailblazer Award honors those who create positive change and contribute to the quality of life in our community. These individuals lead by example, embody a positive spirit, work tirelessly to help others, and go above and beyond the call of duty to make North Texas a better place.
Hi, I'm Mandy Ginsberg, CEO of Match Group.
My name's Lori Briarkirk. I'm the president and CEO of Celanese Corporation.
Hi, my name is Melissa Reif. I'm chairwoman and chief executive officer of the Container Store.
Hi, I'm Beth Garvey. I'm president and CEO of BG Staffing.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Lodi, and I'm chief executive officer of Capital Senior Living.
Hi, I'm Jill Salto, CEO of JCPenney Company.
To be a CEO to me means responsibility for all stakeholders. It also means establishing a work environment of trust and mutual respect, transparency, and collaboration. And it means to always strive to just do the right thing. And if you can accomplish that, then all stakeholders win.
It was actually surprising to me the lack of role models that I had early in my career. And even now, today, there's so few women that work in corporate America. Only 33 of the Fortune 500 CEOs are women. And so my biggest challenge was really looking at people above me to say, that's the path I want to go down, and that's my role model.
The biggest difficulty I faced was really overcoming the gender-based social norms that existed when I was a child. You know, at that time, girls were really expected to be quiet and pretty and supportive and accommodating. I think that's changed a lot in the corporate landscape today with so much focus on gender equality and diversity, and I think it's up to all of us to make sure that that continues into the future.
I don't think that women should ever think about industries as male-dominated. I think if it's an industry that you love, then it's your industry, and you will be successful at it and powerful at it, and you'll be a trailblazer for those women behind you, and then it won't be a man-dominated industry anymore.
I cannot control what people say or think about me, but I can control how I respond. So my approach in a male-dominated industry has been like, you cannot like me, you cannot like how I dress, you might not like my style, but I'm just going to do the best job I can. My advice to girls is the same, is go for it. Be yourself, do your best job, things are going to work out.
Organizations gain so much by having female executives and female associates within their organization. Females are great critical thinkers. They are strategic. They have a growth mindset, and they're problem solvers. And just by nature, we have great multitasking and time management skills. We frankly just get a lot of stuff done.
Being a CEO comes with a tremendous amount of responsibility. There are a lot of people counting on me and on the team that's around me to really lead and guide this organization so that tomorrow is always better than today.
The future for female executives, I believe, is very bright. But success for any executive will require global thinking, confidence with humility, and a can-do and positive attitude.
I would hope people are getting to where they feel that the path is becoming more level. Women wanting to go into senior leadership positions, you know, as well as men, as well as other forms of diversity. I hope as a society we can just become more inclusive and more accepting of the need for all forms of leaderships and all styles of leadership to lead not just our businesses but also our countries into different places.
It is so important as a corporate citizen to support agencies like the Family Place in order to help those in need and those that have just found themselves in unfortunate situations. I'm so inspired by what the Family Place does, and I'm just thrilled to be a part of it.
We need to understand that, you know, the Family Place is the first drop of water to those people who need their services, and whether or not we're helping in regards to donations or by example or by volunteering, we help that ripple to hopefully change lives for today and generations to come.
The first time I heard about the Family Place when I was 16 years old, and it was the organization that we at my school adopted as our community service project. And so this is near and dear to me, being a Dallas native, and really seeing the impact that this has had for women and children and families across Dallas. I think it's in Texas in general. I think this is really important that we, especially we as women, do everything we can to support organizations like this.
Now it is my honor and privilege to announce our 2019 Texas Trailblazers. Beth Garvey, the first female president and CEO for BG Staffing and a two-time Global 150 Powerful Women Staffing honoree, is dedicated to building a culture of opportunity that ripples deep into communities by way of providing jobs that help people reach their personal and professional goals. Mandy Ginsburg of Match Group, growing up in a family of strong, empowered women and developing her career alongside inspiring female mentors and colleagues. Mandy has long felt a sense of obligation to give back to women who have not been so fortunate. This commitment has also carried over to her leadership role at the Match Group, where she has spearheaded a number of member safety initiatives to create respectful dating communities free from threats. Big difference. Threats for all members, but especially women. Mandy is unable to attend today, but the award is being accepted by Lisa J. Nelson, Match Group CHRO, on her behalf. Kimberly S. Lodi, President, Chief Executive Officer, and Director at Capital Senior Living, is with us next. Kim built an impressive career over the course of 25 years, during which time she held a range of healthcare leadership roles centered around strategy, marketing, sales, and operational management. Many of the lessons Kim continues to bring to her roles include those learned from her mother, also a successful businesswoman. Melissa Reif is chairwoman and chief executive officer of the Container Store, the most organized place in the world. We love the Container Store. She has held numerous leadership positions in her 2 decades with the company, each focused on enhancing and strengthening the company's people-first culture and solutions-based selling approach that empowers customers to accomplish projects. She is a founding member of the New York Stock Exchange Board Advisory Council, which proactively addresses the critical need for inclusive leadership. Congratulations, Melissa. And I know we have a lot of fans of the Container Store here. Beaumont native Lori J. Ryercook's expertise in the energy industry spans more than 3 decades. As CEO of Celanese Corporation, the Fortune 500 global chemical and specialty materials company, she leads 7,500 engineers, scientists, operators, and product developers serving customers around the world. And she's represented by the cousin of one of my very best friends. So this is Mary Elise Farah. And next we have Jill Salto. We practiced. Jill Salto is the Chief Executive Officer of JCPenney Company. She has felt drawn to retail and leadership since she was a teen and has built a 30-year career out of revitalizing brands and connecting with customers, helping women look, feel, and be their best. Jill is passionate about fostering innovation and growth among future generations of female leaders. She brings that passion to life through her work with her fellow female leaders as a Girl Scout alumna and also as a member of the 4-H Luminaries, a distinguished alumni group that raises awareness and generates support for life-changing 4-H programs. And now I'd like to welcome back to the stage Meredith. Thank you all, and we're about to hear from our wonderful speaker, Laura Linney.
I hope everybody enjoyed their lunch. In case you didn't notice, there was a delicious slice of funfetti birthday cake. And I just wanted to let all of y'all know that it is our wonderful co-chair, Marissa Howard's birthday today. And since she has the kindest heart and is spending her birthday lunch with us, I thought it'd be so nice if 800 of y'all could all say happy birthday on 3, okay? Can we do it right the first time? I think we can. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday! Thank you. Oh,
just what she wanted. Our sweet, beautiful, sort of shy Marissa's like, happy birthday. We're happy to celebrate you today in this incredible cause. All right, this is the fun part, right? We get to introduce today Laura Linney, no stranger to the stage, having been nominated for 4 Tony Awards alongside her Golden Globes, Emmys, and Screen Actors Guild Awards, appearing on Broadway. Many of you have seen her there. Television and film since 1990. Laura has worked with some of the most celebrated filmmakers, actors, actresses of all time, and has a very unique perspective on the pressures of Hollywood and female performance. Please help me welcome Laura Linney. Hi.
Well, hello everyone. Hi.
Sit in your purple chair and let's get started.
Oh, absolutely. But first of all, I want to thank everyone here for being here today and supporting this unbelievably wonderful organization. And thanks to everyone at the Family Place for having me here. It is a true privilege and a pleasure to be here, so thank you.
We are lucky to have you. People think of Hollywood actors and actresses as very glamorous and paparazzi and late night flights, right? You got on a red eye to be here with us today.
I'm filming the 3rd season of Ozark, which is a television show. Oh, yay. Oh, good. So we're in the middle of the 3rd season, and I worked until 3 in the morning in Atlanta last night. I got up this morning, got on a plane, am here, and I'm going to be whisked out quickly, so forgive me if I don't get to say a formal goodbye. And I go back to work at about 5 this evening. I'll work all night long. So it's, but it's high-class problems to have. I mean, honestly.
Well, thank you for being here. So let's get started. You're a New Yorker.
I am a New Yorker.
A lot of people don't know that you're the daughter of a very famous playwright.
My father was Romulus Linney, who was a lifelong playwright and quite celebrated within his world. He was never commercially successful, but artistically quite revered, and I was very, very proud to be his daughter. So,
was it always for you a no-brainer that you would go into this industry, or did you not want to because of your father?
Well, my parents were really smart in that knowing my sort of disposition. My parents split when I was 6 months old. I grew up with my mother, who was a private duty nurse at Memorial Sloan Kettering Hospital in New York City. I would see my father on every other, yay, oh hooray, Sloan Kettering. Hooray for the good work at Sloan Kettering. And I would see my father every other weekend. That was a problematic relationship. So there was a lot to negotiate there with parents who were separated and didn't always see eye to eye, but we all did the best that we could. But they were very smart about letting me find my own way. And it took me a long time to say I wanted to be an actress. I was really sort of closeted. I was the closeted actress. I worked backstage for a long time. I hung lights, I built sets, I worked as a technical apprentice for years, and it took me until really halfway through college, where I was a theater history major at Brown University, to say I need to go to drama school. And so I fortunately somehow got into Juilliard, spent 4 years there, and then sort of stepped into it. But it took me a while to really sort of step into that. I was very hesitant, shy. I am an introvert by nature, which is, I know, hard to believe for an actress, but the sort of outward, what seemingly seemed to me at the time, requirements of selling yourself and being a little, I don't know, pushy in personality just went against my grain. And it took me a while to sort of realize that I could do it in a different way. But I figured it out, so.
Especially nowadays, where many actresses have such a huge social media profile, and they're really good at pushing themselves out. And you say you weren't really that way early on.
I'm still not that way. Evolution is evolution. Businesses evolve, marketplaces, create new traditions and new perspectives. I have a really hard time when people say their brand and they're talking about a person. I have a really hard time with that. I mean, for me, a brand is for an inanimate object that is fixed, that is a commodity, that is to be sold, that does what it does, it has one function and one function only. And I feel like we have so much more to offer than one function and one function only. And I'm not in a cardboard box on a shelf. So I understand the business perspective of a brand. I understand economically how you can use that. I feel it is dangerous when it comes to representing people, connection, a deeper understanding of who we are and how we relate to each other. So it's been interesting to see generationally what's happening with that. And I have to tell, a lot of young actors, I mentor a lot of young people, and while I can't tell them not to pay attention to that, because I know it's a great reality in today's marketplace, there's something deeper that's far more important. And you can have the brand and no talent, and then what are you offering each other, yourself? What's your own personal evolution? So it's a deeper concept, I think, than something that's worth everybody's time to really think about what you're participating in, particularly culturally.
That's good. So let's start from the beginning of your career. What was the best piece of advice you were given, and maybe the worst piece of advice you were given?
The worst piece of advice.
Let's start with the bad.
That you remember. You remember that. I went to an audition, and I showed up in pants. I was told to wear a skirt. I was told to wear a short skirt. And I went in pants. And I was given a real dressing down afterwards. And I thought, you know what? I'm not going to do that. And and it depends on what you're going after, really. I tend to think of what I do as a vocation and not a profession. That's where I find the meaning in it. The arts are incredibly important to me, have given me so much throughout my life, that I think it deserves a respect, and I think it deserves a standard and a quality that needs to be fostered every day. And by showing up in a short skirt for a piece that actually, though a thin plot line, was very sexual in nature, but had some interesting things that was really actable. It was a good story. I thought, well, then you don't need to see my legs to see if I can act this. I have 2 legs. They're there. You can imagine what they look like. And, but the advice was like, always go wearing a skirt. And I thought, when I want to, I'll wear a skirt. And when I don't, I won't. So fortunately, I've always had some sort of internal navigational system that let me not be afraid to not follow the rules.
Did you get the role?
No,
in those pants?
no, I did not.
Oh.
That director was pissed off, too.
What year was this?
He was. It was 1991. Okay. And I walked in, and he gave me a look up and down, and he was not happy. No. And I was like, well, nice meeting you, too.
How about the best piece of advice that someone gave you?
It came from Gabriel Byrne, who's a wonderful actor who I've had 3 troubled marriages with in film, 3 different marriages. And it was during a rather difficult period in my life. And he said, there's no way through it but through it. You've got to go through it. He was like, stay present, stay connected, do not abandon yourself. And I learned from him that to sit in discomfort is a very important thing to be able to learn how to do. To not be afraid of discomfort, to not deflect discomfort, to realize that it will pass, but to somehow be able to harness your fear when things are uncomfortable, and not to skip a lesson, the lessons that come from discomfort. So that was the best piece of advice.
You've had a really long career. And so
I know, can you believe it?
I
can't believe it.
Delicately.
No, it's true. I'm
Broadway.
turning into an old before I know it, and it's wonderful. If anyone had told me that I would be working as I've been working, and believe me, I'm very cognizant of how fortunate I am to be 55 and still working at the level that I am. I would never have believed it.
I mean, Ozark is the biggest thing going in my mind. But Love Actually and a lot of these other movies that we know you. Was there a period of time where you felt like this is it? I'm not getting calls. I'm dead.
Oh, every actor feels that way at the end of every job. Oh yeah, you're sure it's over. That's it. No more.
It's over.
Oh sure, absolutely. And there are periods of time that are fallow, that are arid, that are that you have to sit in discomfort and use the time well. and have some sort of sense of faith that, you know, you're being blown in the direction that you need to be blown in.
But what is it that kept you so relevant for all these years where you got the call about Ozark?
I don't know if I'm relevant. I think I don't know, really. I think a lot of it is luck. Hopefully some skill. I'm dependable. I work hard. I show up. You know, I get along well with others. You know, all of that stuff sort of pays off. And I think I'm really lucky in that not only did I have fantastic training, I've been around wonderful people, but I was, I think, just born with a really good disposition for the business. That was something that they don't talk to you about when you're growing up and you're facing a career. Do you have the disposition that melds well with this profession? And I don't mind rejection. I don't take it deeply personally. It hurts, it always stings. It always hurts when you want to do something and someone says, no, we don't want you here. That's going to sting for a while. But I just love what I do so much that I somehow don't take it too personally and just realize, oh, well, not meant to be, and maybe I'm not right for this, and that other person is better. And so I've seen a lot of people get thrown out, get bucked out of the system because they can't navigate it. So I was just very lucky that there was a good intersection between me and my ability to function.
And your whole world is not your job. I mean, you're very diversified in your life. You are married and you have a son, a 5-year-old.
I do. I have a 5-year-old, yeah.
And that kind of keeps you grounded, right?
It does.
Focused elsewhere.
Yes, and I had a child very late in life. I was 49 when I had my child. I had tried for decades to have a family, and, you know, fortunately it just happened when it happened. And, you know, you never realize, like, why certain things happen in life. And then, you know, I had this child, and I realized, oh, I had to wait for this child. You know, not any other child. I had to wait for this one. I could never have seen that, you know, the 30 years prior that I had wanted a family, and then all of a sudden it all makes sense. So those are the great moments in life that if you stay with yourself and you keep trying to do the next right thing, you know, moments like that come to you, and so I'm deeply grateful to be a parent. You know, I was up at 4 a.m. with my child, just happy as could be. I was like, I waited a long time. Oh, yeah. I mean, for me, I waited a long time to be up with a child at 4 in the morning. I mean, for me, it was like sacred time. And so I'm having a great time being with him. He wants to be a superhero.
Oh.
Yeah, Spider-Man. He's in Spider-Man camp almost all the time.
Hope he has your disposition.
Thank you. I do too.
How do you balance it all? So you're in Atlanta, sometimes shooting Ozark, families in Los Angeles.
No, families in New York.
In New York?
I'm a New Yorker. Yeah.
Okay, so you're raising the family in New York, not Los Angeles.
Correct.
How do you, and you're going back and forth constantly, yes. How do you make it work?
You know, I don't know. You just do it. You know, you do it. You get up in the morning and you get on the plane. Right. You show up, you're happy to see people. You realize this is a very high-class problem to have. My life is really good, you know, so you appreciate it, you know, and realize that just how unbelievably lucky I am. And I also, you know, as long as my family is happy, as long as my son is happy, you know, then the travel will continue. The minute it seems like it's a little wobbly or off course, then it will stop.
Really? Do you have the guilt like the rest of us? The mom guilt?
Do. Oh, of course, we all do. It's not possible, because you want to be with them all the time. What I hate is those moments where you feel like you're not doing anything well. Right. You know, there's some moments where you feel like, okay, work is going well, and I'm not doing terribly well in the parenting department. Or the parenting department is great, and I'm not as sharp on set as I need to be. And then there are the days where you just feel like all of it just goes out the window, and you can't do a thing, and you hate yourself, and then you start to hate everyone around you. And that's not good. And then every once in a while, there are those moments where, like, you can feel the circulation in the air, and you're like, okay, all right. And it's, you know, no one is one thing, no situation is one thing. It all keeps moving forward, and I think you got to let it keep flowing and learn how to go with it, you know, and then learn how to stop when things are off. learn how to stand up for yourself when things go beyond the pale.
I'm smiling just thinking about your character in Ozark. You are one fierce
Isn't
woman.
she fun?
I love her.
I love her because she's so immature.
I know.
Yeah.
And her husband's so cute. What was she thinking?
Well, and she's impulsive, and she's a terrible parent, and she's just awful. I mean, in many ways, but she's shrewd. She's really smart and very reactive, and she's great fun. It's great fun to play.
Tell us a little bit about the set and the people, and I mean, a lot of us watch Ozark, right? It's so good. It's so good. And your co-star, Justin Bateman, what is he like? Be honest. You can tell us.
No, he's wonderful.
We're in the trust tree.
No, the whole production is. I realized very early on. I was like, oh, I landed in a pot of honey here. I really did. And a lot of it is because there are 3 great men who lead this production. There's our showrunner, Chris Mundy, there's our lead producer, Patrick Markey, and there's Jason Bateman. And the 3 of them are really exceptional. And they're exceptional men also because they're really good to the women on our crew. And that's unusual. It's unusual to have that type of awareness and support and sensitivity so high up. It really is. And they make a concerted effort to treat everyone, not just the women, but everyone, with a sense of care and a community and a sense of common investments and a sense of, the reality of that everyone is valued and everyone is needed. Everyone has something really important to offer on our crew, and the reason the show is successful is because there's so many people working as hard as they do with a skill set that's very high. So it's a fantastic, it's a great group of people, and that's not just hooey. That's really true. Is that a Texas expression, hooey?
Maybe. We're going to get you to say y'all before the end of this.
Oh, honey, my people are from Georgia.
Oh,
I got
right.
y'all. Y'all's easy for me.
We knew we liked her. On the set of Ozark, have you had to demand certain things as a woman to allow for that balance in your life?
Not on Ozark. Ozark has been terrific, and I think that's partly the time that we're in, and partly because of those wonderful men who run the show. And then there have been other shows that are not as kind, smart, savvy. So I'm sure every woman in this room has encountered, either at home or in a workplace, a situation that is far from desirable. So it's, and the entertainment industry is rife with it. So it's not uncommon.
Harvey Weinstein, and I want to unpack that briefly. Were you aware of all the allegations over the year? Everybody knew.
Everybody knew it.
This was no secret.
This was no secret. Everyone knew it. And by the way, Harvey Weinstein's just one man. He's the big bear in the room, but there are many others as well. I mean, maybe not to that extent, because Harvey was really, quite nefarious. But, and Harvey is not alone at all. It's in every profession. There's some gradation somewhere of someone in medicine and politics, and it's in journalism, and it's everywhere. But Harvey was really, it was bad, and we all knew it. Everyone knew it.
But it took so long to speak up. Did you ever personally see or have any experience with him or anyone else, the atrocities that we read about in the news?
Well, fortunately, I was a little older when I went into the business. So I had gone to graduate school, and then I was a theater actress, and I didn't start working in film really until I was 30, 34, 35. So, and the age helped me there. So I was able to sidestep certain situations that, looking back on now, I realize could have been challenging. So, yeah.
But you saw, and some of this.
We all heard about it. We all heard about it. And I had strange situations where I would have to go to an audition, and I'd be sitting in the lobby of a hotel waiting to go, and the director would be in a room, and I'd have to go into a bedroom and audition. And I was like, what is happening here? I'm like a call girl sitting in the lobby of a fancy hotel.
In pants.
In pants. You know, it was, and you were sort of told at the time if you said anything about it, people would just tell you were ridiculous. But just instinctively, I just knew, like, this is thoroughly inappropriate. How is that appropriate to have an interview with someone in a bedroom in a hotel? Come on. I mean, absurd. So fortunately, things have gotten a lot better. And a lot of it, you know, are women talking to other women. You know, the one thing I really encourage everyone in this room, if you don't do it already, which I'm sure many of you do, is to mentor in some way to another woman. Because I think what's happened is that now there's a communication that's been going on, that the collective voice sort of emerged and sort of has been pushing something forward. But when I was coming up in the business, women were very isolated. You're the only woman on set. You're the only actress in an all-male movie. The female executives would stay very sort of far away from you because they didn't want to be seen as being too chummy with an actress. They were trying to navigate their own map in a man's world, and you were isolated, and you were intentionally isolated. People didn't talk about pay. They didn't talk about deals. They didn't talk about the business. Everything was opaque. And so you were sort of lost in this weird void. And being told at the same time, and there's truth to this, which is what makes it difficult, how lucky and fortunate you are. So don't speak up. You're incredibly privileged. You make more money than 90% of the people you will ever meet, so be quiet. And fortunately, hopefully, we're outgrowing that. So the more women talk to other women, whether you are a librarian, whether you are a stay-at-home mother, whether you are a CEO, whether you are running this hotel, whether you are a cook, you know, to pass down what you have learned, to mentor those who have questions, and then let them change it all, which is what they're going to do. You know, we're going to give all of our wisdom to all these young women, and then they're going to look at us and go, you did it wrong, I'm going to do it this way. But they need the wall to bounce off of. They need our foundation to jump further. And it's a fascinating thing to see the generation sort of changing and what's happening.
And keep your eyes wide open. We talk about domestic violence here today.
Absolutely.
Engage with people.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes, absolutely. And I remember growing up in New York. I lived in a building on 64th between First and York. It was just my mother and I was sort of a latchkey kid. And there was a woman who lived on my floor. And I always saw her with glasses and a hat, and she was very beautiful, and hair, and she was always looking down. And it was obvious to me once I grew up, and I realized, like, she was being beaten regularly by a man who would come into town, beat her, and leave. And I hope today, if that was happening now, people on that floor would not have been quiet, you know. And to realize whether you're whether your life is endangered, whether your family is endangered, the hardest step is to ask for help in any situation. Whether you have a small voice in your head telling you, you know, I might have a problem with drugs or alcohol, realizing that something is wrong with a family member, if you're dealing with someone who has mental illness, if you're overwhelmed with debt, if you've made some mistakes and don't know how to get out of it, you know, to ask for help is just the hardest thing. And what's so wonderful about this organization is that people know it exists. They're learning more and more that it exists. And that the more people talk about it, the more they'll realize, oh, look, there's a map. Oh, I can go there. There's a lighthouse over there. You know, someone has something that they can tell that I can learn from them. I can learn from someone like how to help me, how to help my family, how to help each other. So,
Laura Linney, you are wonderful.
Wow.
I don't want this to end, but Ozark must go on.
Ozark must go on.
And you got to get on a plane.
I've got to get on a plane and be nasty.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you all.
Thank you. And thank you on behalf of the Family Place. I want to sincerely thank Laura Linney, our esteemed Trailblazer Award recipients today, Lavinia Masters, for accepting our invitations to join us today. To the event sponsors, the donors, volunteers who shaped this event, we are so grateful for your time today. Remember that in order to empower citizens in this community, we need your help. You can show your support right now by buying a raffle ticket. It's not too late. You can write a check. You can text message, buy a centerpiece on the tables. The fastest and easiest way to donate right now is to text 91999 with Trailblazer space and the amount that you want to donate, and you'll get a text. Please do that for us now, and then you're done. Empower yourself today to get involved, make a difference by stopping family violence in our community. Thank you for having me. Have a wonderful day.